EVs are going down. GM just shut down EVs and dropped a shocking plan to bring back gas cars, making all EV makers angry and confused. CEO Mary Barra has finally heard the public and just reversed GM's EV strategy, going back to the good old gas cars. But why did GM ditch EVs after wasting billions already? Are EV makers hiding something from you? What is GM's CEO's secret plan to bring back gas cars? Is the EV market going to crash? If you thought gas cars are gone for good, keep on watching because I have some good news for you. Here's what exactly happened. So get this, General Motors is ditching EVs and going against the forced EV push by the government. Mary Barra just announced that she's putting a stop to the majority of GM's EV plans and finally doing what the people want. Trusty old combustion cars, cheaper and without useless frills. This is because the EV market hasn't been too kind on GM, leading them to lose more than $1 billion last year. But more on that in a minute. So, back in 2019, GM was like, gas cars, nah, we're over it. And they 86'd the Chevy pickups across the line, which were actually doing pretty decent. They were riding high on the EV wave, thinking they'd conquer the world with their Chevy Bolt EV and the shiny new Ultium EV platform that they were all jazzed about. The plan was to flood the streets with these electric beauties and leave gas guzzlers in the dust. But oh boy, things didn't quite pan out as they hoped. Their EV dreams hit some serious speed bumps. The Bolt was supposed to be their best-selling EV, but it's been more of a problem child with all sorts of production and delivery hiccups. And those fancy new Ultium-powered EVs? GM couldn't even sell 1,000 units of those. Now here's the kicker. GM's CEO Mary Barra, out of nowhere, drops the bomb that they're going back to gas cars. Gas cars have been selling in good numbers, while EVs are exploding, catching fire, and owners are reporting them for having low quality or rattling interiors. And if you thought this is bad, wait till I tell you about GM's CEO's remarks about never being able to beat Tesla or be profitable in the EV business. On one of their most recent earnings calls, CEO Mary Barra told the press how GM has been making huge losses. Plus, they were also hit with the United Auto Workers strike, for which they had to spend more than $750 million in just a single week. As a result of this, they've had to sell all their EVs at a huge loss of $112,000, and even more for some higher-range EVs, losing more than $1 billion in their EV venture. But now, the GM CEO has flipped the script entirely, telling all EV makers to basically shove off. Most people just aren't willing to pay up to $60 to $80,000 for a vehicle that can only go 150 dRM in winters, and is almost no good for towing. As per the CEO of GM, making EVs in that sweet spot price range of $30,000 to $40,000. Yeah, that's not happening. Not profitable. I mean, can you imagine? Here they were rolling out the red carpet for the 2024 Chevy Equinox EV with a price tag waving around the $30,000 mark. And now they're like, no, maybe not. This is mainly due to the horrors of people dying in EV fires lately, which I'll talk about towards the end of this video. And because of this, and 1,000 other EV problems, people are instead choosing to stick with gas cars in the smaller price range. But wait, it gets juicier. Barr's out here admitting that Tesla, the Elon Musk empire, is running circles around them in the EV game. They've got the tech, the profits, and the scale that's got GM playing catch-up. So the only way for them to now make profits is to go back to gas cars, which are selling already in good numbers. And last quarter, GM's gas car sales even left Ford behind, becoming the #1 in America. So we know that there's still demand for the gas guzzlers. Mary Barra is also saying that due to the current high costs of making an EV battery, we might not see cheap, affordable EVs for yet another decade. Now let me tell you that GM is not in this alone. Ford, another legacy automaker, is facing the heat of the EV market crash. Then GM also scrapped a $5 billion deal with Honda to make over 400,000 EVs. But wait, there's more. GM's not just stopping there. They had this grand plan to ramp up production of their electric trucks like the Silverado EV at this Michigan factory, right? Well, they've slammed the brakes on that too. Not happening until late 2025. Now they're saying it's all about managing capital and syncing up with EV demand. But between you and me, sounds like they're hitting some serious bumps in the road. And it's not just stateside. Over in China too, they're hitting a wall. Sales are down, and they just can't seem to keep up with the local competition. It's like they're always playing catch-up as the other guys are just sprinting ahead in the EV race. Now don't go thinking it's just GM in this boat. Ford's riding the same waves of chaos. They've got their own drama, cutting down production of their big EV star, the F-150 Lightning. They were all set to crank out a bunch of these babies. But now they're slashing those numbers in half, because apparently the demand just isn't there. Both of these auto giants, GM and Ford, were racing to the EV finish line, throwing down billions to pump out electric rides. But now, it's like they've both hit a wall. Sales are stalling, production plans are getting tossed out the window, and it's all turning into a bit of a mess. Now let me tell you about the problems these EVs have been having. Firstly, we have the fire issue of EVs, where people have literally been dying due to E's catching fire out of nowhere. Even GM was hit by an incident where their EV was involved in a fatal accident, hitting a woman and dragging her along for a mile. Even Tesla, the biggest EV company, has been having plenty of cases where EVs are going up in flames, and there's nothing we can do about it. But wait, sadly there's more. These high-tech EV batteries can't handle a chill, literally, cold weather hits, and the battery range drops like your phone's battery on a bad day. And charging in the cold? Forget about it. You'll be waiting forever just to get enough juice to get you to the next station. And now for the kicker. Reliability, or should I say the lack thereof. EVs are racking up repair issues like they're going out of style. And if your battery conks out, get ready to fork over enough cash to buy a whole new car just for a battery replacement. Even the Biden administration is all in on this, setting up stricter emissions norms, and basically telling car makers to go electric or go home. It's like they're saying, forget gas cars, EVs are the future, man. But the future's looking pretty fiery right now. And don't even get me started on the cost. EVs are supposed to save us money, right? Well, between the explosions, the repair bills, and the charging station hide and seek, I'm not seeing the savings. So what's the bottom line here? EVs were supposed to be our ride into a cleaner, greener future. Now I'm all for electric cars and cleaning up the planet. But you've got to admit, this whole situation has a whiff of backpedaling. A few years ago, GM's big wigs were all about ditching gas cars, saying they were just a pit stop on the way to the EV future. Now suddenly they're back in the game. It's like watching someone dig through their closet and pull out their old flip phone because the latest smartphone keeps crashing. The timing is pretty wild too, especially with EV demand hitting some snags. GM's had a rough ride with recalls and some less than stellar launches, like the Hummer EV and the Blazer EV. And now, with the EV market not looking as rosy as they hoped, GM is going back to gas cars. It's a big reality check, but for the whole auto industry, EVs have issues clearly, and maybe we aren't as ready as we thought we were. Brands are finally starting to understand this, but when is the government going to get it?